Hey, we are live. What's up, everybody? Mantis here from Be Your Herstory. We're about to go live with PepC in a few. So, stay tuned. See if I can play some music in the background while we are waiting.
Treat yourself.
Oh, commercials. Yeah, I'm really excited for this one. Pep has been doing her thing for a minute. And I think she was with the Olympic team not too long ago, or it still is right now. I don't know, but we're about to find out. Hey. It's working.
Mic check.
Hey, 1 2 1 2. How you doing?
I'm all right. I'm actually I can't complain, but I could be better right now.
Life is good.
Yeah.
I saw you just started back with the team.
Yeah, with the Pacers.
Yeah. How's that going? It's all right.
Oh man. You know, being the NBA interesting place to be. Because the NBA does not pay its entertainment team well. So
Mm.
I say like it's a really good like gap. And it's also really good if you have good people around you. But at some point everybody outgrows the NBA.
I hear that. Yeah. It feels like it's a stepping stone
Yeah.
to like other things, or it's an in-between thing. Yeah, there's a lot of people that I know out here who do the hype team for the Brooklyn Nets. So there's some people that have been doing it for a minute, and it's a fun gig, but seems like it's a lot, especially if you got a whole bunch of other things going on. But definitely in between things.
Yeah. At the point where this might be my last year.
Yeah, I hear that. So I saw also that you were with the Olympic team recently, or still are.
At training camp in Colorado Springs. It was one of the best ones so far, to be honest. So really good.
It looked great. You guys were like climbing up mountains and
Oh yeah,
like eating good food and
yeah. So the cool thing about like the training camps that the USC does, like we get a lot of support, so you can come in and like get an MRI, or you can like get looked at for certain like injuries and stuff like that. They have a recovery center where it's like a hot and cold contrast, a sauna, a wet sauna, a dry sauna, and then like you can get a massage, you can get a masseuse, like all these really cool things that I didn't use because I was being a sleepyhead. I was not because I was tired from like my previous travel, so I was just like
yeah,
sleepy.
using it as a place to recoup.
I'm sleepy. I'm sorry.
It's all good. You know, sometimes you just gotta listen to your body. I totally get that.
Yeah, even though my body needed those other things probably a lot,
There's a
but
hopefully there'll be another one, right?
hopefully we'll see. But yeah, the main thing with those camps is getting to be around the other high level breakers and learning from each other. It was super dope. That was the highlight.
That's awesome. Yeah, I see you guys are always like collaborating and there really is that like team um love and support. I really see that with you guys, and it's cool. I think it's really cool because everybody comes from everywhere and we all pretty much know each other, but
Yeah,
it seemed like you guys really bonded with this team.
yeah.
That's
It's
awesome.
been a long journey, and we have like that commonality now of like going through this breaking, being in the Olympics for the first time, and all of the hardships that come with that, of being like some of the first ones to go into that,
Mm-hmm.
and have that commonality where some of the struggles nobody else will understand but us. You know what I mean? So it
Yes,
brought us together a lot.
that's beautiful. So I want to go back a little bit, right? For the people that don't know you, right? You're originally from Indiana,
Yeah.
um, and you started breaking in 2015, and
Yep.
repping God, Children of Soul. What?
Yeah.
And so and you've been dancing for a minute, like since you were a kid and everything. I read in one of your interviews that you know, you dance with your family and in your town. You guys are just, you know, it's a thing. Just like, you know, a lot of dancers, we just grow up dancing with our families and at parties or whatever. And so and I saw you were dancing all the way up into college, and that you met your mentor Preach at like a jam or something. So what made you say yes to him when he asked you if you wanted to get into breaking? Was it something you had seen before or
What funny story? If I go way, way back, it's funny because once I started breaking, my grandmother on my dad's side was like, they call me Mari. My name is Kamari, so they call me Mari, my family. But she's like, man, Mari, I remember when we was watching some show and this guy was spitting on his head and you looked at me and you said, Grandma. And I had a really small voice when I was younger. So I had to do the voice. Like, Grandma, I want to learn how to spit on my head. And I was like, what? I had to be like 4 or 5 or younger than that. And she was like, Mari, I'm happy that you finally learned how to spit on your head. And I was like, what? Like, that's crazy. So
yeah.
I feel like it's one of those things with that is like always been an interest, always been in me. I just love dance generally. So when I was presented with the opportunity to learn how to break, to be honest, I only said yes because it's just like for me, it was another skill, another dance to learn and like put in my tool belt of dance.
Mm-hmm.
I had no expectation for like if I was going to like continue in that, like be a B girl.
Mm-hmm.
For a long time, I was like,
Yeah.
B girl, like I don't know if I'm a B girl. I just that was an interesting like moniker to take on. Like, am I a
Yeah.
girl? Because all that comes with, and I had to like get to a point where I accepted, like, yep, I'm a B girl now.
That's awesome. I love Flyer just wrote in. That's a full circle moment. Facts.
Like I was like this chose me. I didn't choose it. It was one of those moments.
Hmm.
This was meant to be.
And you didn't remember that
I
story until your grandmother told you.
told me.
That's great.
That's crazy. And it wasn't until I had already came to the point where I accepted that like breaking is my life. Because that's what I meant by am I a big girl? Because you know it's something that they learn breaking moves. And then there's other people like this is your life. And for a long time I've centered breaking in my life. Like I could have done and went in another course because I did go to college and I have a degree. And even then I'm like breaking is the like center of my life. And if you come in between my practice time, I'm sorry, but I can't be a part of that. It was like one of those things.
Yeah, at one point I saw you had been offered to be in like a few West African dance companies and you were taking classes like modern and all these other things and Alvin Ailey asked to put you on scholarship and everything. So yeah, you had a whole bunch of opportunities to, you
Yeah.
know, to grow in other dance styles and so this was the one. That story is still crazy. I'm still like, what? That's awesome.
Yeah. But yeah, yeah, I did. I for me, like choosing breaking was about valuing the art forms that come from us. So like I did grow up doing modern and ballet. I had some like extracurricular activities in my school program, in my school curriculum. So I went to what they call the Magna Art School in the city of Indianapolis. And from the grade of fifth grade to graduating high school, I did dance for an hour in school, like in between all of my other courses. And they had like ballet modern now. An hour is not enough. I'm just gonna say that. Like
Mm-hmm.
once I got to college, I was like, yo, like I'm not the best in this room. And that, of course, that bothered me a little bit. I'm like, I gotta turn it up. Like I gotta get
Uh-huh.
splits, like I gotta get my extensions higher, all of these.
Mm-hmm.
But I chose the school I went to because one, I had a scholarship to go there through dance because of my high school and my middle school and all of that. Two, because they had this initiative where they brought street dance to the school. And it was called their B series. And a woman,
Mm.
Elsa Robinson, kind of like she she headed up that initiative. And it was promoted all over Columbia College's website. And I was like, I came from the So You Think You Can Dance era. And I'm like, yeah, in order for me to be
Right.
a successful dancer, I need to know other dance styles. I can't be a one trick pony. Like that's what I thought. Of course, that's not true. Um, because So You Think You Can Dance, that I haven't heard the best things about that show, to be honest. Now that I'm in the culture, but yeah. So when I get there and I get exposed to more dances, and I'm constantly every day in class, always having to defend like Black culture. Like that's not true. Like you're a professor and you're giving me this article that's saying hip hop is about money, like promiscuity. How do you say it?
Uh,
The HO.
yes.
I don't say that. But
I was like, wait, I know how to say that word. Give me a minute.
promiscuity,
Yes, there we go.
material,
Mm-hmm.
like all of this,
Yeah.
like hedonistic ideologies like that we hear about in rap music a lot today. And she's like, this is what it's founded on and this is how it originated. And I was like, no, that is not true. So, and this is my professor, mind you.
Yeah.
And so not just the students, not we don't even have to talk about the conversations I used to have
Right.
with students. And so there was this pride that I was starting to have. It actually started in high school where because of the conversations I was having, I had to be very knowledgeable about our culture, my culture, and its traditions and its values, like further than what's surface from what you
Yeah.
see, and also further than what I experienced in just my own life. And
Mm.
so, from that, it just came a deep sense of pride where I was like, man, like we have a lot of valuable assets in our culture. And I had this switch where I was like, you know what? I'm gonna really like commit myself to our art forms. And that opened up a whole new world for me that I didn't know existed because I chose
Mm.
to break it, not knowing that it had like its own scene, right? Not knowing that street dance in general has its own paths. I just chose it kind of blindly, just off the strength of like, this is ours. And if I'm going to be a dancer, even if I go broke, even if like I'm not going to have money, I'm going to do what belongs to us.
Yeah. And so
So yeah, that.
that wants to lead me into another question, but before I get there, because you were doing all these different styles. So and when you dance now, you can see that you don't dance the way you don't dance how everybody else dances, right? So was there like, did you consciously want to like use the movements that you learned in other dances, um, and kind of mesh them with your breaking like top styles, or were you like influenced in any way to make your dance different or unique because of your other dance backgrounds?
Um, I definitely was influenced, but it was naturally. And I think it was like my mentor preach. I think he made it a point that he wanted me to look like I had all this previous experience without losing the essence of what breaking is and whatever street style I'm doing. So
Mm,
it was a conscious learning how to bring my personal experience into whatever style I was doing to keep the integrity of that style. Because I
mm,
had some struggles in the beginning, like not keeping the integrity of the style and just like going off like into this other thing. But you have to keep the integrity, like the feel of the style, the look of the style, while adding in your own experience or your own approach. So for me, there was that. Like he was very intentional of he has a talent of seeing people's natural gifts, right? And bringing that out. But then on top of that, for me, it's important to me to bring my experiences to the table. Otherwise, who would I be? Like, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
So, and I think that's a lesson for anybody who comes into street dance styles, because that's the most valuable asset that you have is your experience when you come to the floor. So, I love like social dancing and hip hop. Um, I grew up in that, so sometimes it comes out, but like I said, it has to come out in a way. If I'm in a breaking battle, I don't go all the way like social dance. I
Hmm.
do it in a way that it's top rock at the end of the day, you know. And I actually, when I first started breaking, I didn't learn top rock steps, and I still to this day don't have a lot of top rock steps that I go to and do. I might do a cross step, like an Indian step, a salsa rock, a back step, like simple things, but I don't go into the lab and like lab top rock, if that makes sense. I just
Yeah.
dan- I just dance up top,
Yeah.
and I understand the rock. So like the rock of what top rock is, I just
Hmm.
put that into any step that I do, so that it becomes now my top rock, even if I'm doing something that you can't really identify or call it a name, you know. So
Hmm. Yeah, there's that certain bounce, just
yeah,
like there's that different bounce and like locking or a different flow and popping or light feed or whatever. Yeah, they've all got their own little um, rhythm to it.
yeah,
So yeah, that makes sense. And that's the hard thing for some people to understand, like you said, especially when you're coming from other styles. And I know there's some people who might want to bring that other flavor to their breaking. And like you said, it's important to keep the integrity and the feel,
yeah,
the feel of breaking. Still got to feel like breaking, however you're, putting it together. So
yeah.
going back to what you were saying earlier, um, since you're going into the Olympics now, there was um there was an IG post that you put up, um, and when I read the caption, I was like, ooh, I want to know more about this. So you said I only ever wanted to be a winner of competition so I could push an agenda forward that the art of expression is the meat that we feast on and the love of the culture is the vehicle we must drive in. And there was a little more, but I was like, I hadn't yet heard anybody who was competing in the breaking for gold that felt like they had an agenda. For me, a lot of people were just like, "Oh, the Olympics! This is an opportunity," and and it made sense. A lot of people were like, the Olympics is big. We want to um, rep in the Olympics to for whatever reason, either to bring breaking into the light, um, or into a certain light, I should say, and have it more visible because it's, people don't really notice breaking. It's more the other hip hop elements, or whatever other sports that kids are interested in. And I think for a lot of people, it was just another competition, but just exciting. And it didn't seem like, or I hadn't heard anyone else coming to the Olympics like, I want to push an agenda, or I want to represent something specific when I come to these trials or, um, you know, events. So, I pricked my ears up when I heard that, and I was like, "Ooh, that was really interesting for me." So, yeah, tell me more about that because it sounds like what we were talking about earlier, kind of flows into this. They connect.
Yeah, like I I think that I'm a very gut feeling. Like I go from my intuition, from my gut a lot of the time. And I think that that's where the best art is made, you know? like once you start getting calculated, you lose a little bit of the magic of art. Um, and for some people, like when it comes to a battle, that might be an advantage of being calculated, right? But for me, it takes away from my values of dance. And when you know, like when you know yourself, you can align everything to that vision or that image of who you want to be or what you want to be. Once you get away from that, you know, you nothing feels right anymore. And I think that's why if we're talking about the Olympics, um, it's interesting when I found out people who go into a deep depression after they won gold, because it's like, okay, and like what's next? I just
Yeah.
did, I spent my whole life trying to win this medal and now I have it. That was my whole purpose. And now what? And
Yeah.
even though I didn't experience that, I experienced like I experienced that in a way. So where that post came from is the very first camp I had in November of 2021. This was like in right after like COVID is just starting to release like it's chokehold on all of us and we're able to travel again.
Yeah.
But in order to do so, we had to get these vaccines. And
Mm-hmm.
I was risking everything to be able to start competing and doing the whole Olympic journey, right? But I was not international competitor yet. I was still very local. I was still very up and coming. And I was still trying to find my identity and how I was going to put my print on the breaking scene as PepC. Like, who am I for the scene? Coming in, and then I have these other experienced dancers or experienced breakers, um, generations like in front of me, telling me that in order for me to do well, like in these battles, I need to know exactly what I'm going. And I'm like, I don't do that. Like, I'm like, I got a couple of little combinations, like signatures that are mine, and I decide whether I'm going to do them if it's this kind of music, whether it's this kind of opponent, this kind of spacing. I don't know none of that until I'm there. So, how
Yeah.
am I going to be all the way here in Philadelphia, like in hindsight, right? How I'm going to be all the way here in Philadelphia at this training center and know and plan out exactly what I'm going to do. Like, that's just not that's just not how I bring out the best of me.
Mm-hmm.
But for maybe a year, maybe 2 years, that's what I was working on, is planning out from the beginning to the end, like a set, what I'm going to do before I even go into the space or hear any of the other music or know my opponents, like all of these things. For 2 years, I had a struggle making it out the prelims, at these major competitions, and I was spending mad bread. Like I was doing a lot of investing into this circuit, and it didn't feel good because I was losing money and I was losing myself. I was losing I just felt like I was taking L's everywhere. Like everywhere I turned, it just felt like I was catching L's because from my previous experience before the Olympics, even if I didn't make it far in the competition, I would feel good. Like that round felt good. Like I didn't have
Right.
no issues with myself. And now I
Yeah.
was facing a little bit of an identity crisis because I had lost my voice in this greater um it was like I was on a hamster wheel. Like I was in a rat race. And this thing that didn't belong to me. Like I only got into the Olympics because, like I said, I wanted to represent a thing. I'm like, I'm from the USA. I'm a Black girl. Like I have this long heritage and tradition connected to this dance, and I want to be able to represent the dance in this way. I'm a very funky dancer. I'm a very
Mm-hmm.
soulful person. Like I'm like I feel like I have to be there to represent this style of breaking because I see representation here with the girls that can do the crazy power moves. I see representation here with the girls who got this like really intricate tech and so forth and so on. Like everybody has their own personality. Yet I don't see people who have the approach that I have. or even the background that I had.
Right.
So like two other possibly black B girls that, and I say possibly because with the mixed race and stuff like that, you never know how people are going to identify.
That's
So
true.
I don't know if they identify as black, but when I see them, I identify with them a little bit because of African like heritage a little bit, you know. So I'm like, yeah, like all this representation, which makes breaking great, right? It's like we have all this representation naturally. There's no other really form or entity that's doing that, like how breaking's doing that. However, y'all got all of this, but black is missing. And I felt like, no, it can't be missing. I gotta be a, so that was my that was kind of my like, I have to, like for us. And then in the midst of it, I was like, well, I got to make it forward. I got to make it to the top 8 if I'm even going to be seen. So I had these goals that was stacked on top of my natural voice. And the weight of those goals kind of like suppressed my own voice and my own ideas
Mm-hmm.
after a while, with the pressure that was added on because of it and the expectations from other people that was put on me. Um, and then I got to this one event where I had a mental breakdown. I was like, I'm tired of this and I'm about to quit. But see, I'm
Mm-hmm.
no quitter. That's one thing. Like I don't quit.
Yeah.
So when I started thinking that, I was like, yo, something is wrong with me. Like I don't quit. I'm not a quitter. And I had to sit down and ask myself, why am I at this point where I feel like this is not worth it, even though this is the love of my life? Like I'm doing what I love to do, but I'm feeling like it's not worth it, you know? And the main reason I figured is because all of the values that I ever had for dance and the reason why I chose this dance it's lost. I've lost it. And I really need to get back to my why, like why I even chose this dance, why I chose to be a part of the Olympics. I need to not modify my entire approach to breaking, but only perfect it, you know? And so I started telling people who was telling me certain things like, nah, I'm not doing that. And it was real sassy. I ain't gonna lie. It was real sassy. Like, yeah, you gotta, like, I don't think it's a good idea for you to start back freestyling. And I'm like, you wouldn't tell somebody who do sets to start freestyling because they gonna suck at it. Like, why would you tell somebody who's, the reason why I'm here is because people can feel me. It's never been that my moves are hard. It's never been that. So why would you tell me to lose the feeling and go more towards a robotic approach? I'm
Mm-hmm.
sorry, but you're wrong. Like, you're wrong. I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
And it would just
No,
be,
props to you for speaking up because that's not an easy thing to do, especially in the face of people who sometimes you feel like um, they are your mentors for one, or someone who you feel like has more experience, or whatever the case may be. So yeah,
yeah, yeah,
you know,
it
it's
wasn't
staying true to you.
it wasn't an easy decision at all. But you know, the spark of it was when I got beat by logistics at the nationals in Austin, and I looked at the footage and I was like, yo, I'm really whack. Like this is whack. And my boyfriend was like, yeah, you got smoked. And I was like, oh. He was like, my boyfriend was like, yeah, you don't even look like Pep. That's what he said. He was like, you don't even look
Um,
like, you don't have to change your name.
oh no, damn. That's good
Like,
that you have someone by you that can be honest with you, though. You
that's a
know, he's a
story.
real one.
Yes. And it was really a needed conversation because he's been there from the beginning when I made the decision. So he knows like everything. I'm always venting to him, right? He knows everything. But that was the first battle, high level battle that he had ever been to.
Mm,
He's there for the first time watching me like, yo, you're better than that. Like you can smoke all these girls. You know how people be. It's like they by your side, they see your
yeah.
best. You
Uh-huh.
smoke,
Of course.
I do this, this, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, you not even Pep no more. I'm sorry, but I'm just gonna have to call you. Just see, like lose the Pep. Like it's
Like, all right,
not
sweet.
there.
You're gonna go
So yeah, it was
back to calling you Mari.
right. Yeah, it was definitely difficult, like to start to have confidence in like myself that I'm making the right decision for me. And once I started doing that, I started doing really well. Granted, it was a little too late to be honest. Because now I'm not on the pathway to go to Paris. I'm not. So it was a little bit too late, but I'm very proud that I made the decision when I did, because I got to see that it could have been different had I trusted myself in the beginning, you know? Yeah.
I feel like at least now you have that like you said, that sense of self. I feel like that's more important than anything else. You know who you are, you know how you want to represent yourself, and I feel like not a lot of people even get that far, you know? It's a lot of digging deep and a lot of self-reflection. Um and part of that is like knowing your struggle. You know, Quick always asked us in full circle, what is your struggle? You need to know what your struggle is. And that's going to help you to break. Um, yeah, I feel like breaking helps you find out who you are. And so yeah, so you also recently did like a rebirth, that's a wrong word, but of Jam on the Groove
Yeah. They
in
restaged.
New City.
It was
A
a
restage.
restage.
Um and for the people that don't know, Jam on the Groove was one of the first, if not the first, like hip hop theater production. I think before that was What Happens Now. And so you were working with some of the original cast members, and Adesela, Doc, Fable, and it was like an intense 2 weeks. What did that feel like with working with those original members? And I'm sure it was crazy, but it must have also been like, I can imagine, because y'all were like looking at footages and trying to learn certain people's parts. And I don't know. I kind of feel like it would have felt interesting, like restaging history in a way. You know, this is like a historic piece. I don't know. How did that feel?
Yeah, it was crazy because so it felt like a dream, right? One, because I have to go back to when I had this conversation with a student. Like I did this summer course last summer, and the students were like, okay, if you are a dancer, what different career choices do you have as a dancer? I started listening to all of these things, right? I'm like, you could be this, you could do this, you could do that. And as I'm listening, I'm like, I don't do none of that. I'm like, why did I limit myself? Because at the time, all those things was whack to me. I'm like, going to concert, that's whack. Going to commercial, that's whack. Like I just learned that so many people put these impressions on me that I never for myself got to see if it was whack for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I
So
hear that.
when it came to dance theater, because I have a history of like doing dance on stage with modern and ballet in high school and in college. Well, my first semester of college, I didn't do that for a long time. It took one semester for me to find out that like I wanted to break and I wanted to do street dance. So I had a moment with that kid, Lord, that was like, yeah, like I didn't say this to the kid, but it was a moment of reflection for me. Like, why did I limit myself to only battling and judging and teaching? And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna open myself to do more. And I told myself, and I told my friends that I want to do dance theater in some capacity, but I want to be able to represent breaking and B-girls still in everything that I do. But I just want to be able to do it not only battling. I want to be able to represent like in a good light, in a good way, where it may be least suspected, right? And then I get this offer at Ladies of Hip Hop because Adesla was there to be a part of Jammin' a Groove. And I had no idea what Jammin' a Groove was because I was hardly born. Like they got a award for Jammin' a Groove in 1992. I was not born yet. You know what I mean? Like,
I'm not
it
gonna lie, I didn't know about it either. Like I just know because Quick was in it and we just, we learned all the history. So I was like, Jam on the Groove. What? You're doing it again?
like I get so I accepted the offer because to me it was the universe being like, yeah, I heard you wanted this, like, here you go, you know what I mean? Like, and I'm like, okay, who's in it? Like, oh, dope. Like, I get to be. Another thing for me is like, I like to be around great minds, like great dancers too. Like, I feel like we all kind of have that. Oh, I want to be able to feed off these people's energy, right? So I see the cast and I'm like, yeah, I want to be amongst
Hmm.
those great, and I want to see, like, I want to be able to learn from them and just collaborate with them in a way, like, So I didn't even know. I had no idea what I was getting into, right? So boom, Gem on the Groove. I find out that it's the first of its kind, period. And I'm like, dang, like this is exactly similar to what I saw for myself as far as representing street dance and representing breaking in spaces that it's not like expected to be. Boom, that's exactly what Gem and the Groove was.
Right,
In the story, like and then the plot thickens because
right.
like because the first piece that we work on, Concrete Jungle,
Yeah.
was it was like it's all about the Rodney King, like the times of police
Hmm.
brutality. And the story of it is it starts off in the jungle and the main character is looking out for these predators in the jungle, like lions and all of the jungle predators. But then the piece it transcends into the concrete jungle, which is like in the city, and the
Hmm.
predators are the cops. And I'm just like, whoa, I got chills just talking about it because we still dealing with the same things, um, but the way that the cast interacts with each other and the predators in the story is just this unity, and it's just this synergy and this spirit of community that we're lacking right now in this day and age. I feel like it's not the strongest. So to revisit that place, and to come from a culture and a dance form that's all about community, it's all about resistance, it's all about innovation. I'm like, man, like I love this for me, And then with the castmates that I had, like everybody was super talented. I'm not used to being in a space where everybody is so talented and evolved in their talent, where it's not just a physical thing. Like people's minds were just so brilliant, and the way Adesela let everybody express what they saw as far as creatively, because we had to rework this piece, right? Because
Right.
it
Yeah.
was made on different bodies in a different time.
Hmm.
Had to bring it into our own bodies for this time, and he allowed for that in a way that was just so. The leadership quality of that is also great, So to say the least, it was a really dope spiritual moment for me because it transcended anything I expected it to be, right? And then it was hard, so I had to like I don't do spiritual practices as much as I used to. But in order for me to like be my best through that process, I had to go back into some spiritual practices or else I was going to drop the ball because I had that going on and then I had to go to Paris in the middle of that and come back the night of the first show and perform. So I got off the plane the night of the first show and performed that night. And it was just, for me, the adrenaline was there. Like, I'm like, oh, I'm doing stuff that I love to do. Like, this is awesome. And then I'm doing it with this great cast and I'm a part of this amazing piece, right? This amazing production. And all of it was just the saying that it was crazy is really belittling the experience. It just
Hmm.
felt like such a spiritual experience for me because it really affirmed everything that I want, and I only just kind of like said I want to da da da, like just like, oh, I want to do dance theater because why not limit myself? And then the universe and all the things and God were just like, I actually have like, there's greater in store. Like, you know, you could do more with your mind than just think about potentially doing some random dance work, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So it also broadened my mental capacity for what is possible for people like us. So to bring it back, to say that like the Olympics is not that big of a deal, to be honest. Like I feel like that was one of the dopest things of my experience as a B-girl. So shout out to the cast, all of the yeah, the Ghetto Originals and Gemini Groove. That was such a dope experience. And I feel like there's more to come for our community, because with breaking being in the Olympics, some beefs were squashed during that process. And I feel like if we continue on this wave of like being able to garner our own support in our own community, we could do greater things. And also, I'm on my soapbox. I'm yapping, yapping, yapping. I
Do it.
now like I don't watch boxing like that, but the Olympics is not the peak of a boxer's career. Like a lot of them go through the Olympic circuit to get to pros, right? So we can really build our community to a place where, like, if something like the Olympics, like that's not the bread and butter of
The
like,
pinnacle, yeah.
it don't have to be the pinnacle for us. We could do better, to be honest. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, no, what you said about, the scene and us uniting more, I definitely feel like we have pockets of that, but we're still like, even in New York City, it's hard. It's really hard to get people to come and work together. Granted, like we all have our projects, we all have our lives and struggles and all that. But yeah, I think, we really do got to work more on unity. I had a question. Had you never seen hip hop on a stage before? How come? I wonder why that wasn't something that had like occurred to you, because you had done like other styles on stages before, right? Performed.
I have. I've seen Rennie Harris on stage. I've seen the woman that headed up that initiative at Columbia College. I've seen her do
Hmm.
things on stage, and I just didn't like it. It just was too watered down for me. I just felt like, I told you, I felt like black. I'm like, like this. I didn't feel like it showcased the the scene, the culture in the best light.
Mm,
You know, that makes sense. And also I dancing on the NBA again. I just don't feel like it shows like what we do in the best light.
hmm. Does it make you want to um do that, to like go on that stage and represent it the way you think it should be,
Um,
or maybe
so
not yet?
I don't think it's that they're not doing it the way it should be. I think that it doesn't pay enough money to bring out the best, you know?
Yeah.
Um, so like I said, I got a degree in arts management. So what I recognize is that it's just the funding is not, it's just not supporting the community enough for people to like really be able to grow in their skills
Do
doing
their
something
best.
like that. Whereas, I mean, with battling, it has a different type of reward system where you might be able to win some money, but you also win a reward of getting further than you did before. So that's
Mm-hmm.
that, like pushing yourself to do better and better and better and better.
Right.
Somebody on stage, they're not having that kind of push, like that kind of competitive push to get better and better and better and better. And they're only taking a lot of time directions from the choreographer or the director. And so there's this, it can get kind of stagnant a little bit. Um,
Yeah.
so I just see that there is some gaps to push people to like do amazing work on stage. And I feel like if there was more funding for hip hop, because there's not a lot of funding for hip hop in that space. And that's actually the main problem. It's not really
Mm-hmm.
choreographers or the dancers. It's not their fault. It's not our fault. It's the support that it doesn't get to be able to put on good work and do residencies, to put the good work on, to pay the dancers, to like, that's really the issue, you know. And so to answer your questions, I would love to be a part of the process to get to further that, you know, to get more representation, not just for myself, but for like, you know, just in general.
I would love to see that. PepC dance company.
Oh, look, oh,
Mari dance company.
oh, yeah.
So what's up next for you? Where are you going next?
So the Pacers took over my life, and I can't do anything else right now. But battle regionally. Sorry for the girls who expect me to be at all the places. But more than likely, until the spring, I'm going to be tied down to the Pacers, which is unfortunate. And I got all kind of feelings, but we on live, so I can't just say what I want to say.
Okay.
But regionally, like locally in the mid, which I'm happy about. I'm happy about being able to battle and do things in my region more, because I haven't been able to battle and do things in the Midwest for a couple of years. So
yeah, you've been bouncing around. Yeah,
everywhere else, and
globally and locally.
yeah, locally in the USA, like nationally and internationally, but
Yeah.
not in the Midwest, which is
Yeah.
so to me, it's just important for me to, and I'm happy that I'll be able to battle here more, because like I said about me wanting to go and be around like people who are high level. I have my own responsibility with people in my region to be there, so that like we can bounce off each other and we can grow as a community as well. So I'm happy that I'm going to get to be able to have this time to do a little bit more of that and build with the people, with the dancers in my own, you know, community. Shout out to the Midwest. Don't sleep on us. Don't sleep on us.
Yeah, no, that's great. I feel like you have a mentality that not everybody thinks that way, you know? It's like you go out to all these other countries and you're doing all these amazing things, but you still have it in the back of your mind, like, okay, now so now I'll be ready when I come back home to, like, some of it is, share whatever I've gathered from all these trips and all these experiences, and connect with my scene, because that's important too.
Yeah, it's super important. Like the Midwest is really Chicago, Detroit, Milwaukee, but I want to be able to be Indianapolis's OG, to be honest. Like, I want there to be a generation of kids that comes from my ideology, my approach to breaking, what I gained, in Indianapolis, so that like I feel like hip hop just serves the community so well. And I'm like, it just does everything it needs to do. There's the art, there's the speaking component, like it does
Right.
all the things.
Mm-hmm.
So I believe for me, I wanted to have a lot of what I got from Chicago, because I started in Chicago, and I used to teach in Chicago, a part of an after school program. I was able to do that program, throw battles for the kids, and like the schools would have these different leagues and competitions where like all the schools would be able to battle each other, and it was just fun for the kids, and the kids make, how it go, lifelong friends, connect them through breaking and then
Yeah.
building from there. And I'm just seeing like this lack of the arts. It's just not good. Like, it's a lot of, in the United States, it's just a lot of lacking, that sounds really bad.
No, it's true. It's true. We were recently like talking about it yesterday. I was at a panel and documentary showing, and we mentioned the different countries, and one of the countries that gets the most support is France.
Oh
In
yeah.
Europe, they get so much support and funding. And I heard somebody say, their theaters, when they do theater work, the theaters are full. and they have residencies and all this other kind of stuff, and people get a lot of work out there, and then come here, it's the place where it was born. It's like, you know
It's on its
it,
own. It's like,
yeah, I want to say it's barren. It's not. There's opportunities here. There's residencies and stuff, but it's not at the same um level and support as places overseas. That's
yeah.
sad.
It was, back when I heard Glide was like, yeah, when the 50th anniversary of hip hop, a lot of people were beckoning for hip hop dancers and breakers, and they wasn't trying to pay like that. So I had to work, and like that's a great example of it's just it's capitalism in America is just what we operate off of, and if it don't make a lot of money, like people don't really support it. It's not about a lot of it's not necessarily about the cultivation of the community, Like you can't just live off of money alone and capitalism alone. There has to be a sense of self and community in order for the whole nation to thrive. And that's why we be looking the way we be looking. Like if we could support some things that uplift the community more, then we could have a healthier society. But it's really a dog eat dog world because money first, it's money
Hmm.
first. And a lot of people don't really grasp onto the concept of community unless they are taught it
Yeah.
grassroots, because it's not like America's ideology is built on community. Like that's not
Hmm.
it's just not, that's not what it is. So it has to be real grassroots, and that's why I feel like what we do is just really really important, because without people who push that and teach that, it's just lost. And then the state of the community, like look at it, so
I feel like your scene is lucky to have you, and congrats on all the accomplishments and all the exciting things that you've been doing. And I'm looking forward to seeing what's next for you. And
thank you.
I see everybody in the chat over here is like, go Pep. I know we're happy to see you succeed. Um,
Yeah.
I want to ask you for your shout outs, but I want to see if there's anybody in the chat. I see we have 7 people here. If there's anybody who has any questions or anything they want to ask Pep. And while we wait, I had put in some of the stories, if one of those little things, if anybody wants to ask a question. I think I have like 3 off the top of my head that someone sent. Somebody asked, do you have any favorite quotes? I feel like that's a hard one, but
Oh
I don't know.
no,
Maybe you do have some quotes.
it's a few things I live by. So like my first battle I ever did in Chicago, I didn't go out in the final. I made it to the finals just off of like being black and growing up doing social dances, right? But I did not go out in the finals because that junk hit different. When you go get some people who be training, I was like, I'm not about to embarrass myself. Y'all got me messed up. So I did not go out. But I regretted that so heavily because you just never know. So
Mm,
like one thing I live by is you only fail if you give up. Like so I that's why I said I don't quit. That's not like a thing where I have a like some innate issue with quitting. I have like I got beef with that moment when I you know what I mean? Like
you filed that away, and you were like, every other time I think that I want to give up. Hell
I
no.
can't. There has to be a reason, like a valid reason for me to quit something. Or else I just can't. I have an issue with quitting. So you only fail when if you give up is really strong in like inside of me. And I hold on to that quote. There's another quote that I live by. Like I pretty much say yes to anything that aligns with my personal missions and visions. So I try not to say no. Um, like if I have fear, you know what I mean? Like because that came out of that moment as well. It's like I said no because of fear. Not it didn't make any sense to say no to some of the things I've said no to in my life, except for I felt like I wasn't ready to do it, like I was ill prepared, and just fear. I don't
Hmm.
no more. I can be completely scared and will do it like with my knees shaking, just because
Mm-hmm.
you can never be ready for the next step. You know, like you
Mm-hmm.
only be ready for it once you go through it. You know, that's how I feel about it. So like I never say no in the face of fear. I always say yes. Um and then work hard, play hard.
Hey.
So have fun. So you know
Yeah.
how in breaking, like if you're a battler, like the goal is to smoke your opponent, right? But like I like to say like the fifth pillar of hip hop as far as having fun. Like I have fun smoking people. And like I literally am I'm never the person to go up and be like, like I'm gonna beat you, like I hate you. Like that's just not in me, you know, to like to be successful in that energy. So
Yeah.
I literally come out like if I'm going to battle, if I'm talking to the battlers or anybody who's having a tough obstacle in your life, I just raise up to the challenge. Like just raise up to the challenge, no matter if it's hard. If your opponent is like really difficult, you just got to turn. Like for me, it's turning your mind on to be able to. Like Sunny's a really good person for this. Like she's very strategic. Like the strategy of how to do the thing that seems impossible to do. You know, like
Mm.
that. Like and then have fun doing it. Because if you think heavy about it, it's going to be harder to move upward. So you have to be light in your mentality as far as like getting over the obstacles, and that's really really hard to do. And it's a learned skill because
Yeah.
naturally, if something comes up in your way that's hard, that's challenging, you're going to be like, dang, like
Yeah.
man, you're not going to be like, okay, like bet, like
Let's go.
let's
Yeah.
go, like you know, but
They're
you have
like, jump out of a plane. You're like,
pause, pause.
don't worry, we give you a parachute. Pep now is like, let's go. I'm
Yeah.
ready.
And another thing that I feel like I'm learning too is like relationships are the best currency you have. Period. So like treat everybody with the optimal respect. Even if they disrespect, because I had some disrespect and I really had to forgive people for the sake of myself. Because holding grudges is poison for yourself. Um, I
That's true.
I don't operate with those people in the same way. I don't keep them close to me, but I don't disrespect just because there's somebody disrespected me. You know what I mean? Yeah, I don't do
I
that.
hear that. I do have one question from Nova. What's up, Nova? From MBK. How do you see the level of break-in in American B-girls comparable to abroad, like Europe and Asia, etc.?
There's pros and cons. So I was going to these international battles like mad a lot, and after a while, that didn't make no sense. I was going mad a lot. I was going
We
mad
understand.
often, but no, I'm just kidding. So yeah, I was going to these competitions, and after a while, it was boring because they do the same sets. They don't switch it up. You know what they're gonna do. It don't even matter what the music is doing. Like after a while, you're like, "Yo, I'm tired of this. Like, I'm ready to go back to the States, where at least I know that somebody gonna get funky. They might crash. At least I know somebody gonna tell a story. Like some of the original values of breaking is it's living well in the United States and it's lost in the international scene because of just like the state of the United States, like and just some of the values of like individualism is not a thing everywhere. And so a lot of people they grasp onto hip hop and they love it because it's a concept that they really wish could be a part of their everyday lives that only exist in hip hop when they're breaking or when they're battling. But if that is your culture, it's almost like they can't get totally away from it. So they create these sets, they create in this persona to perform. Whereas for us, it's not no creation. Like this is who we are. You
Mm,
know, Mantis is Pep and Pep is Pep. Lily, I love Lily. Like we are all different. Even on Team USA, none of us look the same at all.
yeah.
Period.
Hmm.
Because all of our backgrounds show up in our breaking. You can't say the same for a lot of the people internationally, and because of that, it just gets really repetitive with their moves and with their signatures. You expect that, and sometimes you can expect to see nothing but that. And
Mm-hmm.
like, so there's pros and cons because it's real high level now. They're like their level as far
Right.
as far as difficulty of
Yeah.
move is
And
really
text
high.
and
Yes, but their personality is very, very low
mm,
as far as their performance in battling. And so
yeah.
I think pros and cons. It depends on what you like, what you value as a like watching it, you know.
Yeah.
And for me, because like I'm going with character and like personality and like stories,
Yeah.
because after seeing so many air flares, like it's like, okay, like could I get something? I'm
And
falling asleep a little bit. Like maybe the first couple it's really cool, but after a while you don't really see anybody.
yeah.
You just see, you know, and that's just for 12 hours. That's just not fun, you know. So that's it.
Hmm.
It depends on what you like.
Yeah. I guess there, from what I saw, the strategy for these competitions is like um that it seems like full sets is what gets you further in some of these competitions sometimes. So I feel like they've like latched onto that and are like full steam ahead with that way of thinking.
Well,
Um
elements is because I feel like it does because everybody's doing it. You know, like if we look at somebody like Jeffro who was doing really well in his competitions, he don't do full sets towards the end of his. Am I giving out his sauce? Hold on, wait.
I
Yeah.
could tell though. I could tell. I could tell. That was the one time, and I remember watching that one because I guess that one went viral. I don't know, 'cause I don't watch videos that often, but I saw that and I was like, "Wow, he's doing his thing. He's killing it." And you know that none of those things are sets. Those are
Yeah.
all coming out of thin air.
Mm-hmm.
He's just going with the music and with the flow, and he was exchanging with I forget who it was, but they were killing it, and that was no sets whatsoever. Um,
Yeah, but the
so
same reason because even as a judge, you watching this for 9 hours. You know what I mean? Like same
mm,
judges. After a
mm,
while, it's
that's
just like
exhausting.
who's gonna entertain me the most.
Yeah,
So, like I
true
think
that.
coming out the gate, doing like your hardest stuff, like having a good plan, is promising. But the further you get into the competition, if you can still do high level moves but also be entertaining,
Mm,
then you're gonna have a leg up. But it's tricky because freestyling is a skill that not many breakers have, especially overseas. And so
mm,
we're comparing right now. We're doing a comparison that don't exist there, if that makes sense.
yeah,
So it's like, yeah, I don't like this is what the judges are liking, but literally all of the breakers is doing that. So we don't really know, like, you know.
yeah. How it's really a friend of mine just put up he's got a b-boy newsletter and he did an article on the judging systems for the Olympics. So that was interesting, seeing like how certain people scored on like musicality, originality, and like how they won versus those things. So those are, yeah, I don't know. That's a whole nother conversation with like,
Yeah,
judging systems
don't be making
and all
no
of that.
sense. Mistakes. I'm not gonna spill too much tea, but they be pushing buttons on accidentally. And
Damn.
it's
Damn.
like I'm so sorry like that I did that. So and it be like, okay, but
Wow.
what is what is like it happened and that's it.
Yeah.
But that
Yeah.
could have somebody's whole like
Yeah.
move forward their whole track, their whole journey.
That's wild. That's really wild.
Let's see. But yeah.
Does anybody else have any questions? Wow, we got 10 people in the chat now. Let's go. Who's got a question?
That's because I started spilling tea. Everybody was like, huh, I heard
Right,
I
right. They were like, "Oh, what's that?" People were looking in through the curtains. Oh, we got one here.
yeah. And so freestyling is very difficult because it it's not as easy to push through if you're tired because it takes
Hmm.
doing so many things. You're thinking about the next move. You're, you know, like when you're doing a set, it's just performative. You don't have to really think as much. You can time
Yeah.
your thing. When you're freestyling, you really can't do a lot of that. Because you're so wrapped in the moment.
Yeah.
So freestyling itself is a skill to be practiced. If you're a freestyler, you have to practice in that way to know the strengths and the weaknesses of freestyling. I do believe now that every freestyler should have like 2 sets in their arsenal.
Mm.
Just in hate the music. Because every freestyler know that the music will dictate whether you win or lose. And that becomes
Yes, facts.
annoying when you get a song that you like, I cannot dance to this. I just can't. I can't dance to this. And so what I say, like for a freestyler, that's when you just throw out your power set. And then like, you know what I mean, hit maybe a signature and like a little bit of footwork. Like do your simplest round that's like just high level, like a high level simple round that you could just go robot and just do the thing and just let that be that. Because I would rather do that than get a track that I hate and like muscle through it and be like hating myself and feeling
Mhm. Yeah, the whole time you're like, "Ugh, what is this?
wow, like you know
Well, what
how
am I doing?"
you ever like dig, like you have to go, so you're like moving, like trying to find like trying to find the pocket, and
Yeah,
that
or the
moment is
funk or
or
something. You're trying to juice it for
you're
wherever you can.
something, and that's your whole round. Like your whole round, you were just trying to find
Searching.
searching. I hate that.
You're
So
like, wait, where is it?
oh, but or a good technique to use is also to like you ever practice, like I'm just gonna go and like do sweeps, or I'm about to practice my
Right.
yeah, like you go into like concepts of like
Hmm.
you start freestyling like different sweeps and different, oh I'm about
Hmm.
to hook round, like you
Yeah, go in with a theme in mind.
yeah. Yep. Or just do the antics. So that's when you also like I had this round against Sunny and Chili where I came up to her and took her head off and I threw it in the air and I ate it like it was a grape. You know how you throw grapes in the air or popcorn, you like and like so then that's when you come in with the storytelling or the
Right.
antics where the music is not the main attraction.
Hmm.
You're
Yeah.
not a slave to the music. Like
Yeah. You're putting
now
on a show a little.
yeah, the main theme of this round is something totally don't the music don't matter. Like you know what I mean? Like I just gotta tell
Irrelevant.
a story, like and break. A good example of that is Flea Rock against was it Shigeki's? I don't know.
Oh yeah.
I don't know what
I don't ever remember the opponents.
came up with the pew pew pew, and
Yeah.
it went viral, right? But like I can watch that and understand like the storytelling without any music playing, and the
Hmm.
music doesn't matter that much because he's telling a story. You
Mm.
know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was somebody that said one time, I forget who it was, but they were like, if you can watch a video with the music off and it still captures your attention the way they dance, then you know that it was a good round. Because when you put that music on, it's just gonna make it 10 times better.
Yeah, maybe, maybe not.
Maybe.
Sometimes I go out,
Sometimes you're like, oh wait, that wasn't on beat at all.
yeah, and I turn around, I'm like, ah,
Sweet.
I don't get it. Yeah, yeah.
Do we have any other questions from the chat? We got a lot of fires and a lot of love.
Boom, bad.
I had someone else in one of the other stories that asked, I'm not sure if this is a good way to put it, but where do you get all that sass? Like where's that attitude come from?
I
The
get it from
the,
my
the style.
mother. No,
She's gonna be like, what?
no, I'm not gonna lie. Like for real though, I think all kids were bullied growing up, and so while I don't think bullying is good, kids are mean,
Yeah.
and you learn kind of quick. Like if you're a kid that's gonna get bullied, or if you're gonna be the kid that's gonna stand up for themselves. And I was very small. When I was a kid, I had a very very small voice. I was very pick onable. Like, you know,
Oh, baby Pep.
little baby Pep. No, after a while, it was like, no, you're not about to pick on me.
I see that.
Sorry. So like a little bit of the sass came from like literally shaking, like being scared, standing up for myself. Like okay, I remember in middle school, I was in 7th grade, and like these girls surrounded me, and they were about to jump me. Short Ridge used to be a wild place. So if you went to Short Ridge like in 2014, I mean in 2010, 2027, that time, you know, like it's just growing up in the city is a wild place. And either you're gonna get beat up and stepped on, or you're gonna stand up for yourself. And I just think
Hmm.
at the end of the day, being a kid made me tough, and then being an adult made me tough in a different way. But I'm gonna stand up for myself more than likely, and that's where if I feel like I need to, I will. You know, that's where it came from. Basically, like you're not about to just pick on me. I'm sorry. Like
Hmm.
I have something to say. Like now I don't fight no more. I don't fight no more. But you know,
You do that
I
breakdance fighting
I
instead.
fighting instead.
I have one more question. It was so these were from Ashley, Shannon, and this one's from Victoria. She asked, "Do you prefer the ciphers or the competitions?"
You know what? I don't prefer ciphers. Actually, they get too performative sometimes, and that's when I leave. If you ever see me just walk away from a cipher, it's because a lot of people don't know how to do so, and also like ciphers can just get weird when people just stand there and like be like, okay, whose turn is it? That's just weird. Like, so I don't. I've only been in like 2 really good ciphers that I felt like, yeah, I could cipher all the time. Other than that, I'm really just in it for the exchange. Like I like going out and dancing. To be honest,
Mm-hmm.
I like having those moments where I'm like dancing and I make eye contact with somebody else is dancing, and now we dance
Hmm.
like that.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like
So it depends on who's around,
it definitely
who's
depends. I
creating the vibe
For
with you.
sure. Yes, absolutely. Now, competitions, more than likely, if I go to a competition, I'm not really into the ciphers, because the ciphers be a part of the competition at competitions. I don't like that. It's like I just got done battling, and now you want to be performative, and I'm trying to find a groove, and you being all in my space, like, and being weird. Yo, I kind of got to be in the mood for that. Which it happens every now and then. Like if I'm battling a lot, it's not gonna happen. I have to really miss it. Like, ooh, like I'm about to get in these ciphers and cut it up. You know what I mean? It got to be kind of a bit of a miss there. But the ciphers just be real performative, and they go on too long, and people be being weird, and there's never a point to some of these ciphers. Like I've been
Mm.
in a cipher before, and people be doing like footwork, and then somebody come in and throw a whole power around. It's like you didn't
Yeah.
room.
Right. Right.
So it just depends. Cause I also like short rounds. Like I love a cipher that's like people just going in, going him and getting out, and then somebody coming in, and it keeps the cipher interesting and just like fun to be a part of. Um,
Yeah.
so I feel like I'm really picky when it comes to when it comes to
No,
cipher.
I hear that. I know that the energy has changed at events, and so that's made a huge difference in the way that some of the generations are, acting in the ciphers. And I don't know, there's like a knowledge that didn't get passed down, or yeah,
Yeah,
there's like this weird disconnect. Um,
yeah,
so
yeah. It's weird because I didn't come up in an era where like that was a thing. Like I've been in this weird era where things are just weird. But I've had some experiences that I'm like, oh, I get it, and I can never go back.
mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah, you would have had to like be around the right people, or, um, yeah, be around the right people, talk to the right people, um, be in it
yeah.
to know.
Having that, it's like when you be in like some relationships that are just toxic, and then but you can't be the toxic one though. Pause. You can't be the toxic one. So like it's like when you be in those toxic relationships and then you get out of it and you find somebody that bring you peace. It's like you can never go back. Like I can never
Never.
toxic cipher. I'm sorry. Like
Mm-hmm.
my
I hear it.
elevate the experience. It can't just bring. I'm sorry. I'm walking away every time.
Yeah, yeah. You gotta find the right vibe, the right
Yes.
energy.
You
Because or else
why
put your
why be
energy in that
yeah.
place.
You ever go to you ever be in a cipher battle? Like you be sitting there watching it and it just be like, y'all suck.
Yes.
Oh
Too many. Too
God.
many of those. That's when I walk away.
I,
Next.
I
I'm
was
like, somebody please interrupt them so we can get on
please.
with
I was in a Philadelphia cipher at a Red Bull cipher one time. I felt so bad, but it was very much needed. I was like, listen, y'all gotta stop. I just got in the middle and
I
did a
think I
quick
did
rant.
that once or
I
twice.
felt really bad.
Done.
But
You're over. Just leave.
yeah, I'm like, y'all are tired. Y'all don't have any more. And now like somebody gotta give up. But I guess they was like, I just can't quit. Like
Pride.
but yeah, so I would
They went to your website and they were like, "Oh, don't quit
don't
ever."
quit. Exactly. Exactly. So yeah, I don't know. I think it depends. Like I'm more of a like I said, it depends on the experience. I like good battles. Like I don't I hate battles that feel like it just was whack to be a part of. It was probably whack to watch. Like when I have those battles, like me and Randy at Ladies in Hip Hop, we're just like it was spicy. Like me and Randy be having some spicy battles. Like they
I
just be
know. I remember at Ladies in Hip Hop. I was like, "Ooh,
even
ooh."
even at Red Bull the Nationals.
Uh-huh.
Be fun. Like I look for. I'm like we're gonna have fun. Like
Yeah.
we're gonna give each other our best.
Yes.
Though
Y'all definitely have a good time. I could see that.
I would prefer that over a whack cipher. So it just
Yeah.
depends on experience, you know.
Do you Nova had another question. He said, do you have a most memorable battle in the cipher?
Most memorable battle in the cipher?
Yeah. I don't know like if it was one that you saw or one that you've been a part of. Have you ever been called out in the ciphers?
No. When I used to practice oh yes I have. They all whack though. When I used to practice Zeku actually called me out at the camp. It was real bad because I was sore. Zeku, why would you do that? Anyway,
For
I was
fun.
in a mug. I was really just trying to get through it. But dang it, I lost my train of thought.
Most memorable battle in a cipher.
I'm not gonna lie. Um, footworkers from Chicago, they can battle. Like, oh my goodness. So I can't. A lot of my best experiences weren't in breaking. So like that's unfortunate. But some of the energy, some of the rawness don't exist in breaking anymore. It's all performance a lot of the time. It's
Mm-hmm.
all about
Mm-hmm.
being clean. Like I was hearing about where people could get like props. People will get commended for attempting a hard move, right? Like now it's like if you the attempt don't
Right. If you
matter.
don't hit it, they're like,
You know what I mean? Like so that changes the dynamic of what is like possible in a battle or in a cipher battle. You know what I mean? Like it's just too clean now for anything sometimes to just pop off and be raw. Like
mm,
so it hasn't been a lot of times where I've seen some like really amazing breaking ciphers that I was like, wow, this is crazy. Like I can't believe that just happened. Like that it ain't happened that many times. Now I've had some really dope experiences in ciphers where some dope exchanges has happened. Where I'm like, oh man, this is really cool. I used to get called out at practice all the time. It's this breaker in Chicago named Cheekies. My mentor used to make people call me out. Like he used to. I didn't know this was happening until later, but I used to just think that. I used to just think that like I don't know what I like. Man,
you're over here like, what's going on?
they just do this here. Like no, my mentor would make people call me out at practice and go rounds with me, which made me a lot better. You know, so props to him. Like he's a great teacher for real, for real. Like he does a good job like of knowing people's strengths and just knowing how to like give them a certain kind of experience. Like, you know,
Elevate,
yeah,
elevate the whatever is special about you.
yeah. And challenging you in a you know. Boy, that challenging you part.
What makes you better, right? What's that? Marines. I think it's the Marines. What doesn't kill you make you stronger.
Yeah,
Or
supposedly.
no. No. It's pain is weakness leaving the body.
Yeah. Sometimes not. Sometimes
Yeah.
not. Sometimes not. But yeah, I don't know. I think though, let me see. I would have to dig deep in the vault to like talk about like favorite moments and stuff like
Yeah.
that. But I could talk about some of my favorite breakers, like box
I
one.
was gonna say. I was gonna say we gotta get Maka to do one of her break battle manifestos with you. Shout
No,
out to Maka. She was on here earlier. I don't know if she's still here.
Maka, let's do that. Let's do battle manifesto with me and Kate because
Oh.
I saw some commentary on that battle, and
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna tell some of y'all I disagree. I disagree.
Where was the commentary? I'm about to go digging. Is this on YouTube?
The spin theory, he does some. He
Oh,
does,
yeah, he does.
and then Poe does commentary. No, not
Oh,
Poe.
okay, I gotta go digging for those.
Profo One does
Oh,
commentary.
yeah,
Profo
yeah, Propo. I've seen those too.
they do the spin theory, not spin master. Sorry,
Yeah,
spin theory and Profo One. They do. Those are two
like
common.
the dark web, or I forget what the other name of it is.
But it was they were right though. Like some of my like there's I'm a strong breaker, but like my weaknesses when it comes to sticking my freezes, it's very evident. I would say. But any dancer knows this. Like a lot of dancers that also go for trying to get higher level moves, you know that sometimes it's hard to balance the two. Like going like if I'm gonna be real dancey in
We were
a
talking about this.
round, sometimes I'm not gonna hit all of my hard moves. Like
Yeah.
being dancey, it's a looseness in your core. Like it's just that undulation of the spine. It's that pop of the back. You know what I mean?
hmm And that takes a lot of energy too. That takes energy out of
A lot
you.
of energy because you're using everything versus hitting the freeze. You have to be tight. It gotta and it
hmm
gotta and it's a skill going in between the two. Like seeing people who can go between the two, it's a skill that I'm obviously trying to work on and hone in on. Hence me like elevating and getting better.
hmm
But it's just like sometimes like I'm I'm willing to take the risk, like because people don't want to see Pep come out and just do windmills.
Yeah.
They don't want to see Pep do that. And I had to come to terms with that. Like they don't want me here to do the same stuff they can get from somebody else. Like
Yeah.
a lot of times I'm advancing because they want to see more of what I do. So I
Yeah.
feel like also I like doing that. I
Yeah.
like dancing. So it's like cool, like we on the same page. Like I'm gonna
Right.
get that, like because you want to see,
Uh-huh.
and I like doing that. But also, I don't want to be the kind of breaker that can't do all of the elements of breaking. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I like breaking for real, for real. Like I'm not just a dancer who like dancing or else I could have did something else. That's how I feel about it.
Yeah. I think it's easy sometimes to get stuck in the idea that we have to like check off all the boxes when you enter a competition and throw around, you know? Like yeah, you do in a way, but also feel like sometimes it's easy to get lost in that and like you said, um not be you,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, yeah. Yeah, there be rounds I have where I didn't do no top rock, and I'm like, Pep, like that's your bread and butter. Why would you do that? Like that's why that's why you
Or
lost.
checking off boxes.
Because well, the boxes are there, right? Like, but the longer you break, the more boxes you have. I feel
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
So, but some of the boxes you cannot forget to check though. This is
hmm
why Pocket don't win that many 1v1s. He a power head for those who don't know what Pocket is. He just spin real good.
hmm with the utmost speed.
And back. He got a
It's
lot of back.
like
His back
it's
is
like
big.
somebody when he dances, like somebody pressed a fast forward button.
Oh, it's crazy. And it's even crazier to see in person, and you can almost miss it. You can really miss some of the details that he be doing in his power moves because
Hmm.
his power is so high and it be on beat. It's crazy. I haven't seen Pocket
Sometimes.
in a while.
Yeah. I hope he's not injured. Oh, we got some more people joining. Does anybody have any questions for Pep? Let's go, y'all.
So I'm gonna do my shout outs real quick while you're waiting.
Yes.
So I definitely do want to shout out Box One, right? Because well, first hold on, bring it back because
All
I
right,
got
yeah, because we were talking about dancers.
yeah,
I'm sorry, I cut
yeah.
you off.
Oh yes, I love. First of all,
That's a bad
tall
habit.
people. Kudos to tall breakers. I'm actually tall for a B girl, but
What?
I I was
I
like,
thought we were the
oh,
same height.
when I be going international, I'm like, these girls are small, but I'm small for a regular human. But anyway, uh, not for a B girl though. Shout out to my teacher, the person who took the time out to show me breaking. I did not have to pay to learn how to break, and that's the way to do it. Like he's my mentor, you know, and it was a each one teach one situation where he saw a talent in me and he just poured into me like his time and stuff like that. So shout out to him. Because of that, I believe in the same thing. I definitely had a student before. I had to move away from my student. But if I see somebody who cares about breaking enough, I'm not about to make them pay to learn how to break. Like I'm more than likely I'm just gonna take that person under my wing and I'm just gonna teach them, you know, what I know. And I feel like that's a tradition in hip hop and a tradition in breaking that it just gotta stick. So I can't wait for that day to come back around where I get another student. So shout out to my teacher. And then shout out to Box One. He the first like he's the first B-boy who was like outside of my own tribe and was like telling me and telling other people that I was next. Like I was next up. You know what I mean? So shout out to Box. He also I didn't have to pay for a lot of things with Box. He put a lot of time and effort into just like telling me stuff. You know, I will post a video on Instagram and I will get a inbox from Box and he would be like, do more 3 steps. Like he's like, your footwork is too straightforward. You need more circular steps. And he will do that like a lot. And I really appreciate the time and effort. Like sometimes I would do battles and I would lose and he would call me and be like, how you feel? And we would have a conversation. So that's also a type of investment that,
Yeah.
you know, I didn't ask for and he just did that
Step
for me. And
up. That's
I
beautiful.
and it's just super dope. Um, it's a lot of people that I can like shout out in that way, you know, that has just given me advice that I did not ask for. Some of it I liked, and others I'm like,
Unsolicited.
you don't get,
Yeah.
you don't get me, you know. But nevertheless, I appreciate people like doing that because it shows me how people view me a little bit, and I'm like, okay, it's good to know that a lot of people are after a while you get to see a trend like a lot of people actually think this and so like maybe I should consider it, so I always welcome it even though some people I to be honest I yeah thank you for that and then walk away like stupid, you know what I mean, like it's it just happens. But if it's true then I probably should hear it besides you. So if it
Yeah.
comes around, I'm a big believer in three. So if I hear it 3 times, I'm gonna take it as a truth. That's just how
People are
I
gonna be like, "Hey, I'm about to tell this to Pep. You need to go up to her and tell her that too, and tell your
yeah,
friend."
yeah. Y'all part of the same crew. That don't count. It don't count if y'all part of the same tribe. Y'all probably a part of the same school of thought. So that don't.
Uh-huh.
But yeah. So you know, always shouting out my family because I really wouldn't be, you know, who I am today without them. We a big dancing family. And my mama be talking mad smack. Like my dad was mad when I lost so many battles. Like I like he
Big
knows it.
support.
Big support. Big
I
support.
love that.
So yeah. Maka was the first. Maka and Roxy were the first B girls. Like when I started breaking, my teacher sent me some breakers to watch. Maka and Roxy were like the first because you know they black girls. And
Hmm.
so I'm like, it's important for me to be in the scene, you know, and be seen. because representation matters for real, it really do. I have it's a student in Michigan who really likes 671 strictly because it's another Asian girl. You know, like she's like, yeah, like she could see herself in 671.
Yeah, I
But
hear that.
it's just important, you know. So anyway,
No,
and
100.
Roxy were like the big girls that I looked up to as far as just they got the guts to be the girl in the room, to be the black girl in the room. And
Mm.
I'm like, they can do it, I can do it. So that was dope. Um,
Does that ever feel like pressure for you?
no, no, you
Or is
know,
it more like pride?
no. Sometimes it just it's it's neither. Some like a lot of times I could experience a little discomfort. I feel like just because I be in some situations where I'm like, yo, you weird, like you mad.
Mm,
And it be feeling like I can't speak up because it won't benefit me to like speak up about this situation. It's not gonna do nothing but make people argue and be weird. Like the best thing I could do in a lot of the situations where I used to speak up a lot more. But the only thing that would happen is that I would be seen publicly arguing with this weird school of thought, you know,
uh-huh.
and take a lot of energy for me to do that. And so now I don't have certain conversations anymore. Like I've been in spaces where someone would try to have like a racially charged conversation with me and I won't have it. I'm sorry, I'm not doing that. It does not benefit me to have those conversations unless you're close to me.
Mm,
Unless um unless you really already come with a certain level of understanding that this conversation requires. You know what I mean?
right. Yeah.
So to be honest, I don't have those conversations just really anymore. Like as a black person, I'm not an activist. Like my choice of activism is like being excellent in things that I do and just like doing it to the best of my ability and like
Mm-hmm.
and being good to the community that I'm in. I don't do a bunch of like fighting white supremacy. You know what I mean? Like I
Yeah.
don't do fighting white supremacy
Yeah.
cause. Like it just don't benefit me to like to have that in my life. And it's really
Yeah.
tiring.
Yeah, I was
So
gonna say it's energy draining.
it's
When you could
so
take all that energy and focus it on,
yeah,
things that are benefiting you and helping you grow.
a lot of that. And I'm sure people that has been a part like has said some insensitive things and they probably have no idea that I feel that way like about them that they brought that energy to me because I just won't entertain. I'm sorry. Um
Mm.
maybe how
No
I
sorry
yeah,
necessary.
but I feel like you know it'll come like they'll get theirs. It's like how people say I have people around me who say the N-word, right? And I just let them know, like if you're my friend, more than likely we've had a conversation where I tell people who say that's not black, I don't give passes.
Mm.
And just to let you know, if you say that and you get in trouble, I'm not defending you because I don't get passes. So you on your own. Like if you choose to
Mm.
weird and sensitive stuff, you on your own. And then a lot of times I kind of separate myself because I don't want people to think that you know, am thinking that that's so such and such is okay.
Right.
And that's pretty much how I operate. So with that, it's a little bit of discomfort because I'm I'm in a culture that's a black culture, you know. So there's
Yeah.
music that say the N word all the time, and like it's a lot of nuances inside of the culture that only you will only understand if you were black. But as a black person, I'm not explaining this to you. Like so that's a little
Mm-hmm.
uncomfortable. I feel like in situations, and I only am like that because a lot of people aren't receptive. Like
Mm-hmm.
they will ask or talk about it, but they won't receive and take the message and like apply it. And so for
Right.
it just becomes like unnecessary energy to spend.
Mm-hmm.
And that
Yeah, you're talking to a wall.
yeah, it's so it's unfortunate, you know, like it's unfortunate that it has to be that way, but I'm like this now, like okay, like
And yeah.
do you boo. Do
Yeah.
you.
I hear it.
But there are times where like shout out to Flya. I want to shout out to Flya because she another black big girl in the scene. And there's times where she's around and we get to be black together. We get to be black girls together and like she be teaching me stuff, you know, she be teaching me I'd be like, girl, how do you be breaking with braids in your hair? Because I can't do. I only wear my hair in twists like this because it's the easiest
That's
way.
that's hard. Like Rock, I mean, I don't have braids, but I used to do the little French braid, and Rock would do it for me once in a while. She'd be like, "That doesn't hurt your head," and somehow she knew how to angle it
Yeah.
so when you do the windmill, it doesn't clunk.
Uh-huh. Oh, dope.
And
I ain't
I,
even,
yeah, I don't know how she does it either.
yeah.
It's like a bump in the road.
Yeah, I
What did
love
she
lighter. It's dope.
say?
It feels like so when I'm around people, like, even though Fly is hilarious, so it's funny, but the thing is, like, when I get around other black, like, breakers, I don't feel black anymore, if that makes sense. So, and it's times where I'm around other races of people and I'm reminded a lot that I'm black. And it feels good to be like to go hang out with other black breakers, and then it's just like I'm Pep. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not
Mhm.
a black breaker anymore. I'm
Yeah, you're just
just
yourself.
the thing, just what we do. I'm just me.
Hmm.
And there's that, like, it's just weird. It's honestly, it can just be weird sometimes, being. I'm sure everybody experiences things. Like, I'll be around Sunny and LaVix, and they be having conversations like, yeah, we don't touch like that. Normally I just give hugs because it's normal here, but like, that's weird
Hmm.
to us. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
They get together and they get to forget about, they get to just be naturally, like, Asian, I guess you
Hmm.
could say. Like, they don't have to try to, like, make other people around them comfortable by
Feel
giving them
comfortable.
they wouldn't
Yeah.
normally give. So
Yeah.
it's similar to that.
I hear that. Yeah, I feel like that also turns into like a learning experience for just for us as people sometimes, because you're reminded like, oh, okay, other people have other ways of, greeting others or, saying goodbye or um just talking. I've had that
Just talk.
experience with Sunny, yeah, like a bunch of times in the beginning. I was like, why do you always wave? Like, can't you give me a pound? Like, we're in New York City. She's like, I don't know, I don't really touch people like that. I was like, oh, I didn't
Okay.
know
Yeah, I was
that. And then I found out she's not the only one. So I was like,
yeah,
oh,
yeah, yeah. Breaking is like the first and only, actually, because, to be honest, where I get to know, like, cultural things for real, like,
mm,
people. I'm like, I'm cool with this person, and I get to actually have insight on, like, cultural things versus going to a museum and reading something or reading a book, Um,
yeah,
so I just think, honestly, breaking is dope, even though it has its pros and cons, like everything. But for me, it just opened up. I'm from a very small town in Indiana originally. I wasn't born in Indianapolis. I was born in a very, very small town where we had a milk house in my town. I don't know if y'all know what that is, but
is that
we
where the
have a
cows live?
huh?
Is that where the cows live?
Oh, it wasn't like a farm. It wasn't like that. It was just really small, to the where some of, like, it's like a small town where I could go to, like, a corner store, and I ain't never seen this person before, and they asked me what my last name is and know my whole family history. Like, you look like, what's your grandmother's name? Oh, her name is Debbie. Debbie Hall? Oh, I know about Debbie. I know about, oh, say hi to your Uncle Rodney for me. Like, it's like that. Like,
You're like,
and I remember doing things like, and my mama will find out. I'll be all the way on the other side of town, and my mother will find out because someone called her and let her know that they saw her daughter, like, kissing some boy behind the apartments.
mm-hmm.
Like, I'm like, wow, I'm just, like that. I'm way on the other side of
No
town.
personal life. You will never have any secrets.
You will never have a secret which is, so that's also a little bit of, like, why I am the way I am. I'm very, just like, I'm from a very small town. So, yeah. And then I moved to Indianapolis when I was 9, you know. Yeah.
Do you have any other shout outs?
Um, I always got to shout out my crew, God Children of Soul. which is homage to the godfather of soul, James Brown.
Mm.
And yeah, like that. That's it. That's all I gotta shout. Shout out to my boy. Shout out to my man. My man. No, no, but nah. Like I'm
The
gonna.
real one.
This is one of the best years like of my breaking career. Like I've had like a lot of opportunities that has come my way to give me work. And it's been on the other side of a lot of like strife and sacrifice. So
Mm.
I've been able to really exhale this year. I'm confident in myself and who I am. I trust my gut, I trust my mind, and now I'm moving into a space where one of my like my practice is not just about physical or mental. Like I'm going back into this space where I'm desiring like more spirituality, and I'm noticing that that's necessary, you know, for just a good quality of life to have. And for me, spirituality is just like above what is natural, you know, like your natural response would be to da 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 da, but like going into a spiritual place to overstand, like to have an understanding that this is not it, you know, like I don't have to respond like this is down the line, it's not going to benefit me in such and such way, you know.
Mm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
um so this is just really a great time and a great year of my life to really lay down some more foundation for whatever is to come next. And hopefully I will be doing after this year. This is a groundwork year again. I'll be doing more work that can produce in the scene.
I'm excited for it. We have one person that put one last question in. What's your favorite song to break to at the
At
moment?
the moment, I will say my favorite song in breaking is definitely dun 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 with the drums. Dun,
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
boom, boom, bah. What is that song called? Apache.
I'm terrible
Apache.
remembering names of songs, and I do that all the time. I'll sing the song to somebody and be like, "Tell me the name."
So
Just did
that's
that the other day.
called Apache. So
Hmm.
Apache, when I first started researching, like when I was telling you about when I was doing all of the
There we go.
yeah,
Patchy, yep.
it's Apache. When I was doing the like the defending black culture and hip hop, and I would do these projects before I started breaking. I would do these projects where I would like do presentations on how to like understand why hip hop is what it is, like where it comes from. And Apache, I just fell in love. I just remember like it was so weird because
Hmm.
so weird to me
Those
because I took
bongos, the drums.
yes, and for me that's a staple song. So anytime I teach a class, I always teach the songs that I fell in love with when I was learning to break, the traditional, like the traditional breaks and the traditional song. So that's a song that's like really close to my heart that
Hmm.
I was recently reminded of because it just reminds me of it reminds me of my why, right? Like what was I doing when I started listening to that song. So that's
Hmm.
a song for me. Like that's my song in breaking. When I got married to the culture,
Hmm.
that's the song I walked down the aisle to with the culture, right? So it's Apache. Um but literally, so I have a few songs that I like to listen to when I'm about to practice, and it's kind of ritualistic for me. So I loved Brown Sugar by Most Def. Oh, that
Hmm.
song, like it gives my body something that's like you about to get down, but warm up first, Pep. Like you know
Mm.
what I mean? Like, you're like
Reminders.
I'm about to go ham, but
Take care of
warm
your
up
knees.
quick. You know what I mean? So, so I love breaking to that. Like that's when I find my groove a little bit in my tops. And then I can break to Busta Rhymes in any song, it don't matter. I can break I love Busta Rhymes.
Mm.
I break to a lot of hip hop. I break to a lot of hip hop stuff. I don't really break to some of the breaks anymore. Like sometimes I'll go into James Brown. Um I'll go into some James Brown tracks, some weird ones like that's not that popular. Like I got ants in my
Hmm.
pants.
I love that one. Dun,
Love that.
dun, dun, dun. Those are my defaults.
Yeah, like just to get myself into just where I love to be in breaking, because a lot of times I compete so much, I have to remind myself of where I love to be in breaking. And so I'll go into these tracks and these songs that make me remember what I love about the dance. And then I'll go into my training. I'll turn on the blessed ones and the legs and the I'll turn on them and get into practicing the battle, you know. I'm not
Different
practicing
modes.
just straight funk and hip hop.
Switch the mode.
Yeah, I love practicing to Lupe. Lupe used to be my favorite rapper for a very, very long time. So I think I feel like I'm a very nostalgic person. I'm sorry, y'all, but like I'd be going into when I first learned how to break in whenever it was that I was listening to when I first learned that got me loving it. A lot of times I revisit that place when I'm about to do my practice now, because I just when I had that moment where two years of forgetting, I'm not trying to forget, you know.
I
So
hear that. I hear that. You got to keep it close.
you got to keep it close, yeah. But
hmm
that Apache, you know, that Apache,
Now we know.
yeah.
Gotta be like, drop that, drop that incredible bongo band.
You know, my favorite
So,
my favorite song to when I'm about to battle is that Nicki Minaj, "Do We Have a Problem?"
mm,
Still the one. That's still the one.
is that where you put in your headphones before you
Yes, absolutely. It gets the people going, you know.
uh-huh.
It makes you
Are
feel
you
like
still
a little egotistical. You know, you need that for the battle a little bit.
you do. It's like an extra boost of confidence.
Yeah,
You have to remind yourself sometimes.
yeah.
Some people already know, but sometimes we need a little reminder.
Everybody get nervous.
Yeah.
Nervous. Yeah.
Are you still doing your body salutations?
Man,
I was wondering, it must be a little tough balancing that and also traveling a lot.
yeah, I had to let the website down. So I have a skincare company called Body Salutations. And the whole idea of it, so I make skincare, right? But it's not just about beauty and vanity. It's also about welcoming yourself into the space. So that's why it's called Salutations. And like I know we can go through a lot of like beauty routines, but just like wiping the skin down with stuff. But you can also like change it into a ritual where while you're washing your face, you can go into a practice where you also are cleansing or resetting your mind. So
Mm-hmm.
body salutations, it's just about like going hand in hand with taking care of yourself first, because we can just go like I've had times where I just wake up and I hurry up and I hurry up and I hurry up and I go. But it's
Mm-hmm.
really, really important to take time before you give other people energy to give yourself energy. So that's what body salutations is about. And the easiest way to do that is to feed your body good things and because, you know, the health of your skin it comes from what you put in your body first. And even the balance of your hormones and the balance of your mental space, which also affects your hormones and everything in your nervous system, everything. So because we all have to have a like a hygiene like a hygiene regimen, it's a perfect place if you have a busy schedule to remind yourself of you and what you need. The same thing if you eat food, like don't just scarf down your meals. Like take time within every bite to remind yourself like this food is good and I am good. Like, you know, this food is nutritious, and feed yourself like nutritious thoughts and things like that as well. So that's the whole concept behind body salutations that but I did have to take my website down when I started to travel a lot because I was not fulfilling my orders on time. And I don't like having bad customer service, you know. So I took my website down, but people can still hit me up and order things personally through word of mouth. Um, but the exciting thing is I am about to start back. It's gonna take a while because I'm actually trying to get a enclosed trailer, and I'm I'm gonna start a mobile store,
That's
and
awesome.
yeah, I'm excited about it, and we don't do it all the way. Because I would really love to be able to fund my own journeys and be able to support just the scene with a business of my own, and that will give me the flexibility and the financial freedom eventually to do so, you know. So yeah. And
Shout
plus
out
I
to
just
you for that.
yeah, yeah. So it's exciting, yes.
So y'all heard, if you want some body salutations, hit up Pep.
Yeah,
I've
just send me.
tried some of the stuff myself and they smell so good.
Yeah, and it's all clean products. It's all I take a lot of pride in making sure that I'm not harming anyone with the products that I make. So, like even with preservatives. So it's a lot of knowledge that goes into it. And if you're somebody who cares about your health and like long term, I would say even if you're not looking into buying products from Body Salutations, it would be smart to it would be wise to know different ingredients that might have adverse
Yeah,
effects.
yeah,
Like
educate yourself.
a lot of you got to educate yourself because a lot of in starting with ingredients, that work for you, and it can really simplify your process. And then also ingredients that are hazardous or cancerous, especially with
Hmm.
most of the time it's inside of the preservative that is used for the product. Um, and it's really hard to come across anything that's bottled that doesn't have a preservative that
Yeah,
can be potentially harmful. And one of the newest ones right now, because they stopped doing parabens, but one of the newest ones that people are using a lot is formaldehyde, and it's usually it's not a lot of formaldehyde that they use, but most of your products probably have it. And it's the exposure when you breathe it in, like the scent that your product carries, and you breathe it in that formaldehyde, and you're using a lot of products that have it, and over time it can be cancerous.
thank
Yep.
you for all that knowledge,
They,
Pep. You
get
dropped a lot of gems on us. Health gems, breaking gems.
it's like what you said, breaking changes your life. Like
Yeah,
I always remind myself, if something hard comes, I remember when I was learning how to do my swipes. I remember how hard it was when I was learning my windmills, and I accomplished those things. It just took a lot of practice and a lot of focus, and it's the same thing for anything in life that you do.
yeah.
I just have
Facts.
to remind, okay, I got this.
Don't give up.
I could do this.
Facts. Facts. Thank you for being with us, Pep.
Thank
Thank you for sharing your story.
you. Yeah, listen to me blab all day.
I could. We were here for like 2 hours.
Yeah, sorry,
Yeah,
babe.
no, you had some great like insights and the stories. I love that story with your
My
grandma.
grandmother.
And if you
Yeah.
guys just joined us and you didn't hear it, we're about to end the live right now, but you can watch it later and listen to the story and enjoy the live later on. So peace.
Bye. Thank you. Thank you,
Peace
everybody.
peace to everybody who came and joined us. Shout out to everybody and have a good one. Signing off. How do I end this? All right. Bye, everybody from Be Girl History, man.